Oh man, the diary. What a diary? What are we doing?
Doing a little journaling. It's
Okay.
been a rough start to the week. Rough start to the week this week.
Well, obviously, because you reached for the diary, not the journal. I'm pretty sure they're a little different there, Dom. I don't know what's going on.
Well, this was a little more personal, less professional.
Okay.
Had a rough Sunday loss with the Steelers. That hurt.
Yeah.
I got flustered enough. I like walked around and just caught bits and pieces of the game. I was getting antsy. And then we had school started off good, but we had our 2-hour delay schedule. It's a goofy schedule, so it throws me off my pattern, which I don't like. But
yeah,
my school club, I got like a legal size page and a half of students want to join. Although the kids that were running the club sign up for me let me know that they pushed the fact that we have food at the club meeting. So I think it's gonna be a lot more donuts and donut holes in my future here. They're like, you're kind of under pressure. They're expecting food, Mr. Sal. I'm like, oh, great.
Well, if they messed up, they own the donuts. I mean, they got to know the system. It's on them. Well, listen, for the record, this is the small violin crying for your woes of the Steelers. You know, I'm like watching my Dolphins. Like, my only hope was, oh, this could be good. Mason Rudolph came in. Oh, come on, let's bomb it so I can have a Steelers connection. And he stinking played decent. So
he played well. He was our best quarterback last year. I think. Yeah. I was reading. I saw a couple TikToks, so this must be true. And I was also reading on some like subreddits that they did this to get the loss out of the way, so they could run the table for the rest of the year. Because and they didn't want to like hurt the 72 Dolphins spirits by going undefeated. So.
That's the only thing we ever got hanging for us. So yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, they don't want to let you down. They heard you bought your ticket. So you're leaving Hershey and going to the Super Bowl and then coming back.
Yeah.
Compete and see. So, all right. Well, yeah. So definitely rough football wide, but I know you caught a glimpse of, I guess, the game of the week in Pennsylvania and
PCA game of the week.
Verno in the monsoon hanging at the sidelines, doing the chain gang and, hanging in shorts in 60-degree weather, but ugly, man. Let me tell you.
To get that shot, there was about 6 rewinds and 8 pauses. I'm like, I was sitting there and, even with my glasses on, I was leaving nose smudges on the TV trying to watch. Fran's like, what are you doing? I'm like, this is the game Verno's working the chain gang. And I'm like, I think that was him. She goes, how can you tell? I'm like, look at the beard. She goes, and she's like way behind me. Yep, that's him.
Well, my buddy's the announcer, so they always make stuff up for our chain gang crew because it's the same guys every week. This week I was the distant cousin, backup to the backup ZZ Top lead singer. So that was this week's introduction to the chain gang for me. It's usually a Robertsons or ZZ Top. So, but yes, that was it was interesting. It was my daughter's team versus where we live versus the team where I've coached for many years. So. Knew a lot of kids on the sideline, but yeah, overtime game and you lose it by 1. So it was definitely exciting. And, football overall is exciting, but this weather, raining, torrential, thoughts and prayers to Asheville, North Carolina. I have a cousin who's a teacher down there. He's a teacher, bus driver, custodian kind of a deal. And, a lot of them we didn't hear from him till last night and hadn't heard from him since last Wednesday. So just the videos and the images coming out of there of just the stuff that's just, the power, the fury of water, man, let me tell you. So I'll take this annoying rain and everything. And, the fact that we don't have all the flooding and stuff that's going on. But, the one thing I heard was, I don't know exactly where, but somewhere near Asheville is where they filmed Dirty Dancing. And supposedly that whole bridge, that whole scene is like wiped out, gone. So, I was heard that somebody made a comment about that today at work, but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was rough. And then where we stayed, where we used to stay in Florida, that got crushed. It was just the swath. I mean, and that wasn't even a direct hit. It was outside of Tampa where, that was on the bad side of the storm, I guess, if you will. But a lot of people got thumped by this and, thoughts and prayers go out to everybody.
Yeah. It's wild stuff, man. But, you bring on, we need this colder weather, just thinking of the positives of Pennsylvania and got a beard built for the cold. I don't like the rain and warm. I want I want the rain, and I need about 2 more degrees lower. You know what I'm saying?
I need the warm for another week because my pool's still open. We had a homecoming. My school where I teach versus where I live. My daughter's home school. They played this weekend, and it was a good game. She tried to get me to dress for the blackout. I usually wear black, and I came home and she's like, "Are you wearing black?" And I'm like, "Why? You should wear black." And then at that point, I'm like, "What's going on?" And I got the nothing. And I'm like, "Is there by chance a blackout?" No. And she can't keep a straight face. And that wasn't on social media. I'm like, "There is this. I'm not wearing black." She's, "Why not?" I go, "So I'm not doing that to my students." My school team lost. It was a close game through halftime. Then the third quarter, Elwood broke it open.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a good game. Then watching the kids play, and saw them in the hallway this week and talking with them, and good game. But we stayed till about halftime because then it was my wife goes, "Should we take ponchos?" I'm like, "Nah, we're good. It hasn't rained in like a couple hours, and it's not supposed to rain till late." Uh-oh. And as soon as we sat down, it started raining. I'm like, and it got better because
you're soaking wet.
Soaking wet. Then New Brighton started coming back, and I'm like, "Oh, this could be a game changer." And they promptly turned the ball over, and all my prognostications on Friday night were wrong.
Oh man,
it's just
that's a rough one. That is rough.
My friends that do the YouTube channel for Elwood,
mm-hmm.
and I was doing some commentary and some this and nothing was right. As soon as I commented, things turned around, and I gave up.
And
when halftime dried off.
Life of the sidearm quarter or the sideline quarterback's tough.
Yeah.
Well, so and then Saturday, that was Friday. That Saturday we went to go visit the alma mater, the Bloomsburg Huskies. They had their game against Westchester Golden Rams, and any day you beat Westchester is a good day in the Bloomsburg book. But my college football coach got accepted into the National College Hall of Fame, College Coaches Hall of Fame. He's the most winningest coach in Division II. So got to honor him and be there, and a lot of the guys that I played ball with. And of course, the comment from my daughters is, "They're a lot bigger than you, Dad." I'm like, "Yeah, look at him. He's the kicker. He was bigger than me when we played." So I survived. I go, "But that's why your dad's got a new hip, and they don't have any issues with their hips." So, but yeah, so good time, and higher ed's always a good thing. And I think we got a little bit of that coming up a little bit later. But listen, man, I think it's weird because it's October 1st.
That it is.
And it's we're rolling into October. We got Halloween on the way, but I think it's a Tuesday.
It is
obviously the first Tuesday.
I think it's time for
the PAECT pod.
Let's roll.
Welcome to the PAECT pod, a show for educators by educators. PAECT is a 100% run organization that focuses on educational technology uses in the classroom in Pennsylvania and
beyond.
My name is Eric Verno. I am the president of PAECT. With me today, as always, my co-host,
Dom Salvucci. I'm the vice president of PAECT.
All right. So, we got, can you believe, episode 64. Oh, man. So we're going to do a little higher ed conversation. We're going to hit that, top cerebral knowledge. I don't know if, I got to get a little nap while we're getting ready to roll to make sure I'm ready for this intelligent conversation. I mean, I'm chilling with sixth graders all day long. Like, we're not hitting this higher end level. So this is going to be a great brain thrust for me. How about you?
I put the glasses on, so at least I could try and look smarter. May not act smarter, but I look smarter.
Oh, there you go.
Our guests gotta gear up.
All right, fake it till you break it. So, all right, we got episode 64, higher ed learning. We're going to have some conversations about how PAECT's, actively involved with higher ed, what all's going on there. So let's stay tuned for some amazing conversation. Here we go. Whoo, 4 across. Here we go. Look at this stuff. Smiling faces. So with us, we have, we'll start off with Dr. Aspen Smock. Aspen, go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell us all about you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Aspen Mock. I have been an educator for 15 years at Forest Hills School District, which is in Sidman, Pennsylvania. And if you don't know where that is, it's near Johnstown. If you don't know where that is, it's about 2 hours east of Pittsburgh. I also am an adjunct professor at St. Francis University, and they're an executive doctoral program. And I'm also a professor who's recently started at St. Vincent University for their curriculum and systems design. And my connection to PAECT is that I am the newly appointed higher education chair.
Dude, Dom, in her first introduction, she's already blown away 64 of our introduction. I'm throwing it out there. I'm just saying it right now. Like, okay, we're done. We're out. Okay. We're gonna record that, use AI, change the face, and we'll roll. All right. So also with us, we have a great friend of PACT for many, many years, Dr. Aaron Samston. Aaron, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hey, I'm Aaron Sams. I've been teaching since about the year 2000, so we're getting on 25 years here pretty soon. So starting to get a little long in the tooth, and I think my beard's starting to look like about like your guys'. This is like maybe a couple more months of growth. I can start to rival that, but it's definitely getting gray. But yeah, so currently I started out as a high school chemistry teacher. I taught in California for a long time, and in Colorado for some time after that. Got out of the classroom for a while to travel around a lot, do my dog and pony show for education technology, and then stumbled my way into higher ed. So this is now my 8th year as a professor of education at St. Vincent College. So yeah, as Aspen mentioned, she's teaching for us now as an adjunct. We were very fortunate to be able to bring her on this fall to teach a class for us. So looking forward to getting to work with her in the future. But yeah, my first introduction to PAECT, I didn't know what it was. I had just moved to Pennsylvania, and I think it was 2013. I was one of the featured speakers at the P&C conference, and that's where I discovered PAECT, and just got plugged in there and have continued to do as much as I can with PAECT as my time allows.
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember you coming in because I know, like, I believe it was flipped learning and things like that you were talking about, and that was real big and coming on the scene, and you were right on the forefront of that. So it was definitely exciting times.
Yeah, it was. I just remember going to that conference. That was the largest audience I'd ever spoken to, and I was so impressed with the conference. I just had to keep coming back. So the next year, I'm like, I don't care if they ask me, I'm coming back. So I submitted a proposal, and just showed up again and continue. I've been there every year. I wish I could, but yeah, I continue to come back and just really always appreciate working with PACT. And so now I've been brought on. So I've been working with Aspen in the higher ed group, but my job is to coordinate the student chapters at the colleges and universities here in Pennsylvania. So we're looking for undergraduate or graduate students, pre-service teachers or in-service teachers who are in school and looking to get plugged in with groups like PAECT and are interested in education technology.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I mean, I'll take it back a little bit with when a new president comes in, as I did, and the call goes out. And, seeing your names on the list, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be good stuff. So just excited that, both of you took that step to be able to reach forward and say, hey, I'd like to do more and see what to do. And there were so many great applicants of different things. So I love the way things took shape. And again, it's kind of like, Dom and I always joke, but like putting in the right people in the right spots, getting the smart people in the smart spots that are needed, like, and allowing, doing whatever we can to help you. And you guys have been rocking it out. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about the different things that you've all been doing and working together. And it's really exciting to hear that. So I know Dom has a slate of some questions to kind of work you through here. So I will pass it over to Dom.
All right. Thank you very much. I've known Aaron longer than I've known Aspen, because Aspen, you're newer to PAECT, but we appreciate both you guys stepping up. And as Eric said, we like getting people who are into working with us, and it's always good having smarter people in the room, especially when Eric and I are the other two people in the room. We appreciate everything you guys do. So going back to the talk about the student chapters, we'll start with that because that's something that's near and dear to me. we had these in the past, but then during COVID, everything kind of fell by the wayside. What is the process of getting those back up and running? What is your vision with that?
Yeah, so when I came on this past year to start coordinating them, I was greeted with a very small spreadsheet, and these are the contacts at these schools who have had student chapters in the past. And so my goal was to just start reaching out to them to start to figure out who might be interested in continuing that, who might be able to start a chapter if they haven't had one already. And so I reached out to them, had a few interested responses, started to bump into some other professors of higher ed in at the PAECT conference, and so I have a short list going, and so we're just trying to figure out where the interest is and where the people are who have done this in the past. And as you mentioned, things kind of fell off the map during COVID, and we're really just reorienting ourselves to the task. But fortunately, Aspen came along and is great at getting projects rolling. And so I'm actually going to hand it over to her to explain a little bit about what we're doing to try to facilitate this process a little bit better.
As everybody's mentioned, I'm kind of the new kid on the block here. So I wanted to see exactly what everything was about with the student chapters. I had started working with PAECT when I was accepted to the KTI Summit, had an amazing experience there. And then when I heard that there was a call for having some different leadership within the organization, I was like, ooh, I would love to work with these people again because they're so dynamic and so interesting. And ed tech is just one of the major things that we can have in our schools and in our classrooms. And it's also really important to implement that into teacher preparation programs because it's really a dynamic and exploratory space where students who already know a lot about technology can explore that with their pedagogy, and it can really inform how they walk into the classroom teaching. And it's almost like they're walking in as leaders when they're going on job interviews or when they're coming into the schools and being part of the school districts. So looking at this, I wanted to see what we could look at both qualitatively and quantitatively about how the programs that are actually running now are working, what's going on with them that's great, and what we can do to even improve or better support experiences for those who decide to embark upon having a PAECT chapter for their organization. So we started off with, as all doctorates do, we started off with a survey so that we could collect some data. So that is the point that we're at right now, where we're collecting data through this survey. So if you see an email come from Erin or Lynn Hummel or myself with the survey attached, it is not spam. We are definitely trying to get all kinds of information so that we can offer the best experiences possible for those of you who already have a chapter or who want to start one up in the future.
Yeah, and I just noticed that you guys threw up the link to that form right there in the bottom of the screen. So if you are watching this on video, you just take a quick screenshot, and it is somewhat shortened, so hopefully you can type in all that gobbledygook into your browser and take that for us if you are in higher ed. So we are looking for professors who might be a faculty advisor of an ed tech club. So in my campus, I'm the faculty advisor of our STEM education club, and that's where our chapter is going to reside as we're just getting it off the ground. So I have some officers who are willing to serve as the officers of the PAECT student chapter as well. So wherever you have a club or some other organization, this might be a good fit. You don't have to necessarily, start your own, start a new club. This could be something that's part of that as well. So, and we're going to be partnering with our education club in general, which is the student chapter of the PA Teachers Association. So we'll be working closely with them as well. So again, if you are in higher ed and you have some students interested in ed tech, this could be a good opportunity to get them plugged in, and as Aspen said, to set them apart as teacher leaders when they're out looking for jobs, especially with regard to technology.
Yeah, and that's like, as you mentioned, you can piggyback it with other endeavors going on at the university, so it doesn't have to be standalone. And Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, but the student members get the benefits of the premium members while they're students for PAECT, which gets them access to all the webinars, gets them the free entrance into different events, and also gets them access to Otis for education.
Yep, you are correct. So yeah, we definitely want to work with students, pre-service teachers, whether they be traditional, non-traditional, and have them be a part of our organization, show them the different things that we can do and how we can help. So we definitely want to offer them all of that. So you are correct, sir.
And if you're looking to start something new, we're all about mentorship. So it's not like you're going into this alone and administratively you won't know what to do. Aaron is an expert in implementing the chapters. When you sign up for the survey, we also will give you the opportunity to join us for a focus group. And we're really looking at this like a think tank on your input on how we can best support you, how we can operationalize the system so that it works well for everybody. And we ultimately want to also offer some different initiatives on a larger level. Like we've talked about perhaps doing a symposium, which would be really cool, where we would do a hybrid sort of setup for that, where we would have people who were online virtually, they could attend the symposium that way, but we could also do it in person. And your students would have the opportunity to present at the symposium, but then also hear from experts in the field as well.
That's a cool idea. So no, I was up at Slippery Rock recently for an open house, and I know they were talking with Dr. Fessich was up there, and a bunch of other professors were talking about the different things that they go to and take their students to in conferences. And I talked to them about, the PAECT and the student chapters. And Dr. Sam had been, she had a student chapter down at Grove City. Then she just recently moved to Slippery Rock. And I talked with some of the people there about, giving them information on you guys, and talked about, like, we have the TERS conference for research. I think that's more, it's at graduate level, I believe, but I'm not positive. But this symposium would be just another thing that would be great exposure for the student chapters.
And just real quick to throw this out there, I quick made a bit.ly. So for our dog walkers, for our people listening audio wise that couldn't see the screenshot, so we just real quick a bit.ly. So https://bit.ly/ all capital PAECT, and then it's higher ed, capital H, lowercase I, GHER, capital E, lowercase d. So bit.ly/PAECT higher ed. That will take you to the forms link that we did have before. So if you screenshotted it, great. If you wanted to type this in to remember it, and if you're just listening on the go, quick do your audio notes so you remember to click on later. So that way they'll be able to get your information, so they'll be able to reach out.
Yeah, and thank you.
The deadline is not today. We're extending the deadline to the 15th. So if you click into the form and you see October 1st, that's okay. You have until the 15th to fill that out.
Yeah, thank you. And you mentioned Sam up at used to be Grove City, now is at Slippery Rock. I didn't realize she'd moved over there. And I see Camille in the chat as well. And so that's another higher ed person. So if you know any of these people, or know other people in local universities, community colleges, whatever it may be, who might be interested, feel free to put them in touch with Aspen or myself or Camille or Sam or anyone you might know at PAECT who's plugged into higher ed. Hopefully it will all feed to the right place, but we're looking for people. We need to know where these chapters have been, who to contact now, because some of the old emails are dead links now. People are no longer at these institutions. We're really just trying to find where the people are, hence the survey, hence trying to get these symposia together. And we want to know where you are.
Yeah. And the nice thing, I know when we would get student teachers in the past, they would come in, and a lot of them, they were still using, it wasn't even Web 2.0 tools. They were, the real basics, PowerPoint and stuff like that. They weren't even into the Web 2.0, and that was a big beef with some of the teachers that were more tech savvy. Now, this is a chance to get those student teachers and pre-service teachers caught up. So whenever they're getting into the classroom, they're coming into our classrooms to observe or to student teach, they have practical experience with the tools we're actually using. So this is a good concept to get them going and get them up to speed. So they're coming in understanding what we're using in the classroom now.
Mm-hmm.
I think too, nowadays, when you're designing instruction, those tools are just part of the landscape. So being able to use those when you're creating drafts of unit plans and lesson plans and your teacher philosophy while you're in a teacher prep program, that's essential.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know, my brain goes in different ways. So walking into school today, I was walking with our librarian. She was a Bloomsburg alumni. I mentioned I was up there with my daughter. My daughter's editor-in-chief of the newspaper. So I got a couple copies of the newspaper, and I happened to see her in the parking lot, and I was like, hey, here's some copies of the Voice. It's what they call BU Voice. And she's like, oh, it was a little thicker back in the day. And we started talking and reminiscing, and we were actually talking about our teacher prep. So I want to go around the horn. So when you had like that audio visual teacher prep class, right? It was like you had to learn a couple tools. All right, so we're going to start with Aaron. When you went into that class, what were some of the tools that they taught you how to work?
Oh man, so I was initially certified in California, and I got my teaching certificate in 2004, and I had to take a 1-credit education technology class in 2004 to get certified. And we had to do 3 projects. We had to build a website using, what was it called? Was it ClarisWorks or something like that? It was basically a word processor, but you could export something as HTML and you could make a web page. So super duper basic. You had to make a PowerPoint presentation. So that was the second component. And oh my gosh, this is 20 years ago. I can't remember what the third one was, but there was one thing. I remember, this class was scheduled for a 3-hour evening class, 1 day a week for like 15 weeks. And I had everything done. And I think the second night, because I just like banged it all out. I'm like, what do I do now? He's like, well, I guess you're done. You don't have to come back anymore. But there were other people that needed more help. But I wish I could remember what the third one is. I'll see if I can.
You'll figure out it. And Dempsey's getting fancy with Dreamweaver. Oh yeah, that was big front page back in the day. All right, okay. So Aspen, how about you? When you had that class, what were the couple of those things that you learned that, oh my gosh, they're not using anymore today? What do you got?
Well, I remember the good old e-portfolio, and I'm not even sure what system it was, but there was this one room that was dedicated in another building on campus where you would have to go there and you would get special assistance to try to upload your documents. I remember a lot of our discussions centered on credibility and validity of internet resources. And this is back when Wikipedia was a big no-no, because I don't know if you guys remember this, but do you remember when the article came out about the vampire duck, where somebody had photoshopped little fangs onto a duck? And they made up this whole new species that it was this carnivorous duck. And everybody believed it. So there was a whole generation of us who believed that there was a vampiric duck that, was lurking around in the swamps. And so we had learned that whole class. I remember specifically, we learned about how Wikipedia is not a valid and reliable source. Now we use Wikipedia, but we know how to use it better. So
that's so funny. All right, good.
I wonder if the vampiric duck is any relation to Bat Boy from Weekly World News.
All right, Don, what do you got? We're gonna have
two sections. Going back to the late 80s, 89, with IUP, my ed tech test at the end of the course: thread a self-threading projector, thread a non-self-threading projector, move a film strip through the beep, and there was like a couple other things that I got to do. That was the high-tech technology of the time. And then later, mid-90s at Cal U for my master's. I remember sitting down with a paper notebook. They took us to a computer lab and they were showing us in this research class how to use the internet. And as a history background, sitting there trying to do, you have to type, you have to use a certain punctuation, and or plus or and or and but not, and type all this stuff in. I would type in all this stuff with the typos, have to correct it, hit enter, and 3 items would pop up for the search, like on the U.S. Constitution. And I'm sitting there thinking, why am I doing this? This is dumb. I can go to the microfiche and in a matter of seconds get hundreds of articles on the U.S. Constitution. And then what it's blossomed into today, where it's, millions of, if not billions of hits. But I remember sitting there like, this is just dumb. I don't understand. Like, I'm getting 3 articles. Nothing pertains to what I'm doing and they're wrong. It was just like, frustrating because I wasn't as good at typing back then.
I remember what it was. We had to make a Hyper Studio stack. You guys remember Hyper Studio?
Yes,
yeah, that was the third thing. I knew it would come to me eventually.
Yeah, so we had it was future, man. Let me tell you, Bloomsburg, we had cassette tape. You had to put the tape in, you had to hit play, and when you heard beep, you had to advance the threaded, and then wait till please turn to side B. Oh, buddy, you had to eject, flip it. Let's get it rolling on the other side. The projector wheel, opaque versus regular transparency. You had to work the overheads. Oh man, you had to what are proper markers to use? Okay, let's outline the states. I mean, that was big stuff. But yeah, the Hyper Studio doing the Claris Works. I mean, we took a class and we had Apple IIe's or whatever, and it was 8 guys on the football team that were in the class, and it was right after morning workouts, and we would hit about a half hour, 40 minutes. The teacher would start droning a little bit, and I'd get this nudge from one of the guys. He'd be like, Verno, get him going so we get out of here. And I'd be like, Dr. Pratt, do you really think Apple's going to be around in 4 years? I really don't think they are. And we would go at it. And I'd be like, and even then I was beating the drum on Microsoft, Dom. And it would just, oh my gosh, he would get so mad and frustrated. And he that's it. Okay, class is over. And he would shut his book and shuffle out of the room. So, yeah, so that, but I mean, so now question A, microfiche, is it still found on college campuses?
Ooh, I have not seen microfiche or reader in a while. I'm pretty sure most of that stuff's been digitized. There might be we just remodeled our library at St. Vincent. We got rid of a lot of stuff that nobody used anymore. So I'm guessing all the microfiche probably went out with that. And I haven't seen a reader in the new building. So if there are, I haven't seen it in a while.
All right,
Penn West has it in their archives.
Oh, what about you, Aspen? Have you seen a microfiche? Have you seen any of that on the campuses you're with?
No, I've not. And I teach virtually mostly, but I've not seen it definitely because of that. But also in our school district, we don't have that anymore at all.
Gotcha. Oh man, that's wild. So now think about it. That's what we went through. We're in the thick of it, doing different things. Of course, our crew, whether it be through the KTI channels, like Aspen mentioned, the PAECT channels, we're constantly thriving and striving to learn these new things. But how much more is it needed to have our groups on college campuses, right? Because some schools give prescription. Here's what the professors have to teach. Correct me if I'm wrong. You guys would know. And then some schools, the teachers do have the ability to do some different stuff. But I feel like some of the infusion of what PAECT has to offer is definitely a healthy thing for college campuses. What are your thoughts on that, Aaron?
Oh yeah, I definitely think that anytime you can get onto college campus and expose those of us who are teaching to new things, I make it an effort to go to PAECT events or EdTech conferences, especially something like PETNC, as often as I can, so that I can see what's new and I can stay up to date. Because the last thing I want to do is be teaching my students something that's 5 years behind the curve and that it's mostly irrelevant and that schools aren't really using anymore. So just knowing what's on the forefront, knowing what's out there. I continue to go to these conferences just so I can see what's there. But anytime you can push into where we are to say, hey, here's something new and even better, that'd be great. So I know when we host events at St. Vincent, Aspen has presented for us before, and Dom is often there having a booth for PAECT. He's like, hey, sign up. He's always getting people to sign up and just sharing what's new and letting everybody know what's on the forefront of ed tech. So it's absolutely essential.
Aspen, your thoughts?
I think it's I'm coming off of the experience of going to the KTI summit last summer too, and I think knowing about PAECT in your pre-service career is amazing because of the pathways that PAECT offers as well. And thinking about going to summit as a goal eventually is something that I think would be great for students to think about as they enter their careers. And then just having PAECT there as a resource. So I really see it as just a pathway to continue developing professionally, to set a foundation for the fellowship that PAECT offers, to look at Also, what PACT offers sometimes with the grants and being able to know how to do that and to write grants to bring more educational technology into your classroom. Because it's one thing, we learn about the tools, we know about the tools, but then how to write grants and how to use donors' tools and different networks to be able to get those tools into your classroom too, I think is essential.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff I wasn't even thinking about, but you're right. That's totally, just so important for those pre-service teachers to have just that awareness, that knowledge, and just to know that there are extra resources out there. It's such an awesome, over 4,000 member PLN. Like it is so cool.
Yeah.
And the ability to get together at Pete and C coming up here in February. It's just, that opportunity to sharpen your tools and just to get refreshed, just to get that energy, because all of us doing our thing and just every so often we get worn down, coming together just to have that camaraderie. And then the KTI, you got, wear your purple on Tuesday and cranking through the KTI pre-conference summit will be kicking off, and a lot of really good stuff there. All right, Don, back to your questions. I hijacked you for a little bit.
That's okay. Because, reading the Gen Z book, Aliens Among Us, last night, I'm a little bit behind in my reading, but they brought up the Buckminster Fuller quote of the doubling of knowledge curve, or knowledge doubling curve, and how much it's accelerated. And, back to the comments Aaron made, and Eric, you touched on it too, how fast things are changing, that the networking, because, I just, the Google, was it the notebook?
Yeah.
Link you showed me.
Notebook LM. Yeah.
Notebook LM. Just last week, within the last week, my kids love it. I take my notes, PDF, push it out, makes a podcast better than, faster than what I could do. And the kids will listen to that instead of, if they miss class, instead of reading the notes, I have kids that'll sit there and listen, and then they'll come in with questions for me. That just popped up, and within a week it's implemented, but it wasn't, around a couple of weeks ago that we knew of, or at least, the majority of people. So this changing of things, building into the network and using that strength in numbers, if you will. We do have, I don't want to go there yet with the superpowers, but that question is lurking on the horizon.
It is.
Trying to think if I lost my questions here, but we talked about a lot of it already. So with everything going on, they can get in touch with you guys through your emails. You have the PACT emails, which is just your name, first name, last name @PACT.org. Your guys' school emails, they can get pod@PACT.org, or Eric Verno, myself, if they have any questions about any of the things. We will put the bit.ly in the description for this podcast. So if you are getting on to YouTube and whatnot, they can just click on that. But, with everything going on, I'm filibustering right now, if you can't tell. But from there, what's your vision? You talked about, a possible, I don't say summit, but, getting the Aspen talked about getting the people together to come in, get the students together. I know we've had very active student chapters in the past. Unfortunately, the leaders there are temporary. The student leaders are temporary because they graduate and move on. Moving forward, what, besides the summits and stuff, what is your vision?
I think that what you just mentioned about students graduating and then moving on, we're hoping that they move on into a continued partnership with PAECT, and then also offering that mentorship to the students in the student chapters. So going back to the symposium, hopefully year after year, would be something that would maintain that sort of networking between the universities and those who become working professionals from the universities. A lot of times you have that already genuinely built into a higher ed system where the alumni are welcomed back and celebrated at the university level. So this would be another way to sort of, an ed tech homecoming, I guess, is a way to put it, to have those alumni come back and in ways mentor them, and everybody comes into PAECT then as an organization.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That'd be just a great pipeline and pathway for students. And other entry points. KTI has come up a few times. I have a few students who I just know are going to be rock stars when they get their own classroom, and I'm just looking forward to the day that I see them with a purple shirt, at Pete and C, or if I ever get to go back to KTI, just to see them there, because I know they're going to shine, and it excites me to know that there's an entry point for them.
That's good. And I know, like, Aaron, you're on the board for Tretzi along with myself, and I know they're looking for student presenters and getting the pre-service teachers and student teachers in. So there's a lot of opportunities out there for colleges that have the pre-service teachers and student teachers to get in, educational majors to get in and get involved in these organizations, and other smaller conferences besides Pete and C want to work with people like that. So you guys are a great conduit to move this process forward.
Yeah, it's awesome. So definitely the grad students, and we've had those conversations. Like, we got the student chapters rolling. At one point, it was higher. Like the pandemic kind of took the wind out of that, like we referred to, and there was healthy discussion at the board level. Like, do we look at ways to get pre-service teachers involved in the KTI summit? There's just some different avenues and things to do, and I don't know. The book's not closed, but definitely a discussion to have. But it's exciting, and anytime we can get there and just go, and it only benefits me. Like, I've had 3 new teachers in my area in the last 4 years. Like, to have them come in and to be a little bit more ahead of where they are, depending on what school they come from, it's always a benefit. So anything we can do to kind of work with them and help them, it's huge. I think, I don't know, my brain goes to maybe, because at one point, I know coming out many moons ago, 10,000 people were coming out with education degrees, and there was only 4,000 jobs in Pennsylvania alone. So, it was kind of like, they had the pick of the litter. Now the struggles are a little different, and we need them to come out. We need them to be ready. And, we're needing them, in those classrooms and working alongside of us and doing the things they need to be doing. And to me, your 2 positions, there's no more of an important time as this for you to be there, to be working on building it up. We really, truly need to build those bridges, and just the creative ideas and the things that you do is amazing. Hopefully you both put in, I know information came out as far as Pete and C, or hopefully you're going to be attending and doing different things. I know you guys mentioned Lynn Hummel. They tend to do a higher ed, some different things at Pete and C there for the different professors. Is there anything to add on that side, the Pete and C side?
Yeah, there is a session for higher ed. I know Lynn put something in, and I think Camille was on that group, and Aspen's on that, and myself. So I'm pretty sure it's the 4 of us. I got so many things running through my brain about what's coming up next, but I'm pretty sure that was the cohort that's going to be in that higher ed group. But yeah, we'll have a session. Lynn usually hosts that, and it's just a way to meet people. I mean, that's how I met Camille. That's how I met couple people from Juniata this last year. So it's a great place just for higher ed people to come together and know who's where, who your colleagues are, who your allies are in other institutions, and places you can go for more info. Did I get that right, Aspen?
Absolutely, yes. And I'm going to be there too. So I am part of the cohort, but I have not yet, again, new kid on the block. I've not yet been to Pete and C, so this will be my first year, and I'll be presenting as well. So it'll be really awesome to join you all there.
Yeah, it's amazing. It is definitely the favorite time of year, and camaraderie around the Hershey Lodge fire is always a good
Aspen,
time.
please tell me you're going to do your presentation that you did for us at St. Vincent, where you teach Shakespeare with the Spheros and you give them costumes. Is it that? I
didn't submit for that this year.
Oh,
but next year I will.
That was so cool. It was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Like putting solo cups on the Spheros, and they are dressed up like Shakespeare characters and have them cruising around the stage. It was great. I absolutely love that.
Thank you. Coding the Bard, I called it. Shakespeare. My play on words, being an English teacher. Shakespeare.
Oh my word. Well, we'll definitely put that in for next year. That's got the makings of something amazing. That sounds cool.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you.
Don. We're hitting that 40-minute mark, so I think it's time for the favorite question. What do we got here? Doing a session. Oh, wait, put that back on. What was she doing? AI integration community.
AI integration in academia.
All right.
Nice.
All right,
I'll
put
go
a
to that
proposal
one.
for Tretsy. That sounds good. Good stuff.
Yeah,
All right.
Tretsy is still accepting. Aspen, Aaron, Tretsy's still accepting proposals. So if you are interested in presenting,
right,
please reach out.
This guy's always recruiting, I tell you.
Yes.
All right, Dom, hit him with your question, buddy. Let's
Okay.
see. Let's hear.
So,
I'm curious what their answers are.
The big question. This could be, we'll start with this. What is your superpower in education or everyday life? What is your actual superpower?
Who gets to go first?
Roll the dice.
Oh,
Aspen.
Okay, superpower. I think that it's in, since we're talking about superpowers, I'll bring up realms. I think it's in the realm of creativity and innovation. I think that I do have a knack for creating projects that amplify and empower student voice that are super creative. For example, the last project that I was involved in, I was contacted by Pennsylvania Humanities, and we implemented a rain poetry project here in Johnstown. And I held a workshop where I was teaching teachers how to teach students how to write haiku. And then I had a workshop at the Children's Book Festival at the Bottle Works, and I taught students how to write haiku. And then PA Humanities has a special hydrophobic paint that they use to paint the haiku onto the pavement. So when it rains, you can't see the poems until it rains or water is poured on top of them. And so we had this huge celebration event where all the students were invited to read their haiku poems out loud. Both of my daughters were authors and poets, so that was very exciting. And we all stood on the sidewalk, and they had these adorable little watering cans from PA Humanities, and they would pour the water onto their poems, and the poems would be revealed. So I think things like that, that's where my superpower is. I love to be able to have students write and in authentic environments and have their voices amplified and published as well.
That is nice. Super cool. Like now again, how Verno's brain works. So next time you do it, we're going to get you buckets. We're not doing flowering cans. And you're going to think of the football coaches celebration where they get the water bucket dumped on them. So like, you're going to like, okay, next up, here's our author, Aspen Smock. Whoa, dump the water on her celebration. Whoosh, the poem appears, then they read it. All right, there you go, free of charge. Okay, I'll come out and do the dunking. I'll do the dumping, whatever needs to happen. So that would be so cool. But that sounds awesome. Very cool. All right. Follow that one up, Aaron. I don't know. That was a good one.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know if I can. So I think the thing that has served me best in my career as a teacher, in my life when I was traveling around the world, doing talks, doing professional development, and also now as I've stumbled my way into higher ed, is probably self-deprecating humor. I was always a terrible classroom manager. Like that is my weakest aspect of being a teacher. My classrooms, I had really good relationships with my kids, but they were just chaos. But for some reason, my kids really respected the fact that I never took myself too seriously. And I think I would also add my willing to apologize to my students when I messed up, or when I didn't know how to do something, or when I just did something dumb. So that went that went a long way for me. And for some reason, people really respected that when I was again traveling around the world doing my dog and pony show. So like, I mean, I often joke that I used to kind of be a big deal, and I'm not anymore. Which I love because I kind of held that phase of my life loosely, and I never took it too seriously, and I never poured my identity into it, and I was always willing to make fun of myself on a stage and to kind of poke fun at how fleeting the flipped classroom model was going to be, and it kind of came and went. And I knew that was going to be the case, and so I always never took it or nor myself too seriously. So it served me pretty well. So I think that would probably be my superpower. And those of you who've spent any time with me know that I'm kind of goofy. I like to make jokes, and I try to make people feel comfortable when they're around me. So there you go. I'll call that my superpower.
All right.
Very good superpower.
Yeah. Hey, the humble nature, the building the connections, it's huge. And just to calling myself out real quick, like for some reason, Aspen, S came in front of your name when I said it, so I apologize. All right, I said smock instead of mock by accident, so I apologize for that. All right, no, that's awesome. So, I mean,
now,
good. What do you got, Dom?
No, because we have one more question to go around, but I'll let you speak first, sir.
No. Go ahead. It's all you. Hit it.
Okay, so now that is your actual superpower. If you could have any superpower,
it's a big one.
Made up, real, comic book, movie, not even thought up yet. What would your superpower be? We're going to start with Aaron this time. We'll go reverse order.
Oh my gosh. I've just got to go with flying. No, teleportation. I mean, I'm not going to fly. I'm going to teleport. So I have an almost hour commute from Pittsburgh to St. Vincent, and I go out there 4 days a week. And so that's 2 hours a day. That's 8 hours a week. I would love to get that time back. So definitely teleportation. I have a cat. Pretty sure he's mastered the art. Like, he's not there, and then all of a sudden he's there. So the joke in our house is that he knows how to teleport. So I'm just going to go ask him how he does it, and maybe I can figure that out.
All right. In college, I had a football coach. We just said he had tunnels in the area because all of a sudden he was near you. All right. Okay. Aspen. This is a tough one.
Aaron, it's the same one as you. I was going to say teleport, and I think that's absolutely the best superpower. I mean, in this day and age, you can be anywhere and everywhere. I think maybe to add to that, if I could have a hologram of myself, maybe that would be cool. And now, if teleporting can't happen yet, if that's still something that's too out there, we'll go for a hologram. So,
you guys are spiking my anxiety with that, because teleporting would be cool, but then I remember the movie Galaxy Quest, and the first time they teleported something, the way my life has been running,
that movie. That is one of the greatest movies ever. I absolutely. I'm so happy that you brought that up. If you've not seen Galaxy Quest, you need to go watch it like tomorrow.
All right, there's the plug. I like it. Right, good stuff. We always have unique answers. I love it.
Yes.
And but I love the fact that right away Aaron was like, "Wait, backsies. I'm switching mine." Like right away, instantly. So yeah. There's a lot of cool things you can do. There's a lot of good conversation. Like
I said, just be able to admit when you're wrong. It's important.
Yours donut holes.
Yep. I introduced Dom to a technique I do in my classroom that if I don't get something turned back in time or I make a mistake on something, I owe my students donut holes. And then he took it to his high school class and his donuts, and his kids love me for the fact that he has to bring them donuts now.
Yes.
So I'm famous in his room. So yes, it's all good. So listen, this has been amazing. I mean, the time just flies. Great conversation with both of you. You're such amazing people in individually, and then let alone for all the things that you're doing for education, for the pre-service teachers, which in essence is for the kids. In the end is what it is. So it's truly awesome. So thank you so much for being on here. I know we had information about the call for chapter and chapter organizers and things like that to get involved. We'll make sure that it's on the notes. We'll share it out. There'll be different information coming up. We'll be putting stuff out there pre-Pete and C. We'll make sure to highlight when your group's getting together. And so we'll make sure that a lot of good stuff's being said. And again, we truly believe in the organization and everything that it stands for. And our goal is to try to just make it better by bringing in some awesome people and continuing that. And there's a lot of them in your classes, in all the classes, learning. Aaron made a comment that he knows these people are going to be rock stars. He could see it in them. They don't even realize it yet. So it's just working on just, helping them believe in themselves and giving them that path. So that's awesome. So thank you both for everything that you do. And thank you for being on the pod tonight.
Hey, thank you guys for having us. It's great.
Anytime.
All right. Well, you have a lovely rest of your evening. Hopefully it's not so soggy there as it is here in the eastern part of PA. You guys are all tipping on the western side. So, so yes. Well, thank you so much and have a great night.
Good night. Thank
you. Night, guys.
All right. Whew, good stuff, man. Okay. So teleportation for the win. I think we need to start doing a little tally table, a little, keeping track of this, of all the different superpowers. And
he jumped on flying, which was a popular one. Both raised my anxiety. It's just that whole Then the existentialism. If I could fly, would I be afraid of heights?
Mm-hmm.
I still haven't said,
But when he was talking about getting time back, my brain went to the movie, was it Click with Adam Sandler? Gotta be careful with that stuff with the remote, and then you fast forwarding through life different things. So so wild stuff. Well, all right, man. Well, let's quickly go through what all is happening with PAECT. What do you think?
Yeah, because there's a lot going on we want to talk about, so we'll get that rolling.
All right, here we go. All right, so rocking it out here with the PAECT calendar. All right, so right now, October 1st, the book study was kicked off from 6 o'clock. It's ended now, but they're doing, How to Teach AI by Rochelle Dane Poth, so a member of PAECT. We got KTI chat, so we'll be pushing that out. We're this platform, so I believe Melissa Krenzer, Brendan Powell, who's commented a couple times, I think they're going to be hosting the KTI chat this month, so it's exciting stuff. Again, the book study kind of carries throughout. Tech tips, tasty sips, and Lego bricks on the 10th, and I believe that is the south. Is that
northwest?
Oh, northwest. Okay, I was thinking it was south for some reason.
Yeah, no, because South Central has something going on, and they just had one. I'd like to make that. That's right outside my driving range.
Oh yeah, you did talk about
school night, but there's also check if you're in the northwest region or southwest region. They have some literacy under the lights events. They're not PAECT sponsored events, but they are run by PAECT members. I'm going to one this Thursday up at, I believe it's Wilmington High School. I know there's one up in Meadville going on, and there's some others going on around the area, literacy under the lights. So if you know a PAECT member, check out their social feeds because there's a lot of that going on too. And awesome. Yeah, like I said, they're PAECT members running them, but not necessarily PAECT labeled.
Yep. All right. And we got portfolios. Let's make them less spooky. All right. So that's going to be on Zoom. Join PAECT for this session. All right. So we got a lot of good stuff going on there. Just some more information down below. We got some KTI presenters. Hillary Stevens is going to be kicking that off. So that's awesome stuff there. And let's see, rounding out, we got the book study STEM-tober at 717 Make. I believe this is going to be South Central. There we are in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Yep. So they're going to be doing some things here. So free for premium members, $10 for non-premium members. So a tour, refreshments, and make and take items. All right. And rounding it out, Pumpkin PD.
That was a big hit last year.
Yep.
So, a big smash.
Yeah, the pumpkin smash. All right, so then the Zoom session will feature 2 mini sessions, various topics, including Tinkercad, CoSpaces, AI, and more. So sign up today for fun and learning. So Pumpkin PD, I believe, Southwest, or is it Northwest that hosts that?
Northwest. Addie just talked about the Pumpkin PD in the chat.
Oh, there you go. All right, very good. So that's Southwest. Okay.
Thank you, Addie.
All right, they're going to be kicking that off. So that's the 24th, and then the following week, and then wham, we're rolling into November. Let's check out the Glide show. All right, scrolling through. September come and went. So we got the tech tips. That shows that is October 1st. So I'm not sure exactly if that was tonight or if that got moved to another night. We got our portfolios. All right, Pumpkin PD. So, all right, that is what's happening in PAECT this month.
A lot going on. And we go October, we get into November and December, and there's going to be a lot of events going on online with Zoom and such. So keep checking the calendar because there are going to be a ton of events. There always are. And go from there.
Yes, sir. A lot of great stuff going on. So, all right, man. Well, listen, we got October's kicked off in a great fashion. Some great guests tonight. A lot of great stuff happened in higher ed. Got to share some stories, date ourselves a little bit, but that's okay. Breaking out some cassette tapes and slide projector shows and all that jazz. So fun stuff. And man, we used to watch. I remember learning about inverse operations and reciprocals, old school math on the 8mm reels. We used to watch those videos. So those were the days, man. Those were the days.
Walk in and you see the projector in the middle of the room. And you're like, as a student, you're like, yes.
It's going to be a good day.
Yeah.
Awesome stuff. All right, man. Well, listen, we got a lot of great stuff going on. I truly appreciate everybody being here. So PACT pod.
We are the voice of ed
tech. Voice, in Pennsylvania
and beyond.
All right, let's thank our sponsors.
PAECT would like to say thank you to all of our sponsors.
Venture sponsor, EduSpire, corporate council members, ClassLink, ClearTouch.
Thank you to our gold sponsors,
Howard Technology Solutions, and Teachers First.
We at PAECT truly appreciate your support. Thank you once again. PAECT would like to say thank you to all of our sponsors.
Venture sponsor, EduSpire, corporate council members, ClassLink, ClearTouch.
Thank you to our gold sponsors,
Howard Technology Solutions, and Teachers First.
We at PAECT truly appreciate your support. Thank you once again.